Mr. Nigel Dodds.
The threat that is posed by the barbarism, brutality and savagery by ISIL is not merely a threat to the Sunni, Shia, Kurds, Christians and Yazidi of Iraq itself. ISIL poses a clear and present threat to the people of the United Kingdom. It is a clear and present threat to the territorial integrity of Iraq, the government of which has asked us to intervene by way of airstrikes, and it is a clear and present threat to regional stability, international security and civilization in general. And for those reasons, we are in a different place than we were a year ago when this House was last asked to consider military action, that time in Syria. And for those reasons, we on these benches in the Democratic Unionist Party, unlike last time, will be supporting military action. A plea has gone out to the country. The sovereign nation of Iraq faces a perilous time. It has submitted a request for assistance at this crucial juncture to assist it in protecting its national integrity and the security and safety of its people. How, with our history of fighting for freedom and democracy, for justice and human rights, can we as a nation turn our backs and reject such a plea? There is no question mark this time over the legality and validity of intervention in these circumstances, and there is certainly no question mark over the need for immediate intervention. The savagery, the sheer brutality, the scale of the genocidal wave of terror sweeping the region is truly terrifying. It is a savagery and obscenity which continues to shock even the most hardened commentators and those with great experience of previous conflicts. In Northern Ireland, we are well used and have seen it first-hand and directly, the impact of terrorism on families and communities. But this is on a different scale, a medieval type of barbarism that people in the country want a response to.
Can I give way?
I will.
I'd like to thank my right honourable friend for giving way. Does my right honourable friend agree with me that any decision to take military action is not one that will be taken lightly by any member or right honourable member of this House, bearing in mind the sacrifice or the dangers that's facing our servicemen and women? However, we cannot sit idly by and allow the group of Islamic fanatics to terrorise and butcher innocent people in Iraq.
I'm grateful to my honourable friend, and clearly, yes, the dangers are great to our servicemen and women who I want to pay tribute to and salute for their efforts in many conflicts. And again, they're being asked to do a job on behalf of the people of this country, and the House is coming together to ask them to do that job, and we wish them well, and we know that they will display the courage and gallantry and effectiveness that they always do in these situations.
Would the honourable member allow me?
I will give way, yes.
Does the honourable member accept that had the House voted last year to go into Syria or to bomb Syria, that in effect we would have been on the same side as ISIS and fighting their same battle? And does that not lead us all to have a great deal of caution that within 1 year circumstances can change very rapidly and an incredibly volatile civil war that's going on in that region?
Well, I'm grateful for the intervention, and he's right to say that the situation may have led to the consequences that he outlines, and that is why we in these benches voted against the intervention in Syria at that time. And we will take our decisions, whether in any future situation that arises, whether a motion comes before this House in future on Syria or on the intervention of combat troops or whatever it is, we will take those decisions at the time on their merits. We're taking this decision today on the merits of the circumstances that are before us today in this House, and we believe it is absolutely right and imperative indeed that we give the assistance that the Iraqi government has asked for. It's totally legal, it's on a sound legal basis, and it will be according to a well thought out plan and will make an effective difference. And that is the difference between now and last time. No, I can't give way because I've used up all the interventions. Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is that despite what we've said about the barbarism and savagery of ISIL, and it is well documented and people can see it for themselves on their TV screens and read about it, there are people who will say, well, why should the UK get involved? Why should we directly intervene in a situation like this? For the reasons that have been outlined by many already. The fact of the matter is that ISIL's threat its brutality and savagery is aimed not just at the peoples of Iraq, but they present a clear threat to this country and the West and the region in general. And unless confronted now, we will be storing up much greater trouble for this country and for our citizens in the future. We have seen the brutal murder of David Haines, the kidnapping and the threat against Alan Henning, and others who have been brutally terrorised and murdered. It is not just the fact that it presents a threat to the UK. This organisation has already taken direct action against the citizens of the United Kingdom, and that demands a response on the part of this country. We simply cannot allow the creation and consolidation of a state covering large swathes of terrorist territory, which would be the base for the planning and direction of terrorism against this country and on a worldwide scale. Hundreds of people have already gone to the region, as we know, from this country and have engaged in terrorist activity and in war. We need to be very clear that as we engage on this action in this House today, that we also say to the people of the United Kingdom that we're going to take that decisive and clear action that is needed to prevent people from this country who have gone to the Middle East, to Iraq and Syria, from returning back and becoming a major direct threat to the citizens of this United Kingdom. It would be simply wrong to take this action today and simply then to say we're not going to be able, for whatever reason, to take action to prevent these people coming back to the United Kingdom. That has to go hand in hand. If Parliament were to reject this request today, Mr. Speaker, it would send the disastrous signal that the United Kingdom does not stand by its friends, by its allies, in times of trouble, that it is prepared to ignore the barbarism of ISIL, that it is prepared to ignore its international responsibilities and obligations. Intervention is justified because it is on a sound legal basis. It's at the request of the Iraqi government. There's a clear and direct threat to the United Kingdom through the murders of British citizens already. We will be part of a coalition which includes Sunni Muslim states. There is a clear plan, and we can make an effective difference for the better. The barbarism of ISIL has already targeted UK citizens, and we must respond to that. Otherwise, we will be failing our people. We wish our airmen and women well, and we wish them Godspeed.